Shalom. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakodash, and the honestly apostles and others, great millstone salutations to the hopeful elect. This is your brother Amlo Allah from Gemma, Chicago, and I'm just gonna go into a quick lesson about what's going on, in the world today. And as you can see here, all right, they're talking about well, now a famine is already happening, right? It's already occurring in Gaza, right? And you got a lot of people dead already because of starvation, right? And we know through the scriptures, right? It lets us know the key prophecies that tells you that, here we are, in the beginning of sorrows. Matthew 24:6. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. That's what we're seeing today. All right, the wars and rumors of wars that are occurring on this earth today. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And exactly, these wars have to happen, but the last major war, the war to end all wars, which will be the destruction and the nuclear destruction of Babylon the Great, all right, which will be destroyed by ICBM missiles, all right, will not come to pass until all prophecies come into place, right? Because you still got other prophecies that have to take place, such as the influx, the RFID microchip, all right, and all the things that martial law, the checkpoints, all right, and so much more other things too. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading. All right, for a nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and that's what we're seeing today. All right, you got the race wars and these other these countries, all right, that are are escalating tensions against each other, all right. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places, and that's what we're seeing right now, all right. Famines in diverse places, and here what's happening right now, is a famine, all right.
Auto insurance rates went up again in 2024, which means it might be a smart time to shop around for a new policy.
And it's horrific, right? You can see how cruel Esau is. Everybody's looking to the fact that Esau, the so-called white man that rules this earth today, is the devil. All right. He's the Esau is like causing all this murder, all right, by starving people over there in Gaza right now.
Monitor is warning that the worst-case scenario of famine is now playing out in Gaza. In a new alert this morning, the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or IPC, said the latest data suggests that famine thresholds have been reached for food consumption in most of the enclave.
Yeah, you got Israeli troops, shooting down Palestinians from reaching, the aids and stuff, the packages and then the food that they needed and stuff. And, a lot of the children are dying, all right? You look at the news, you can see the ribs, you can see the bones, all right? Even older individuals are also dying of starvation too. And it's only going to escalate, all right? Esau is really starving these people out.
Thanks for joining us this morning. I just want to get your assessment of this new alert by the IPC, considering it doesn't factor into the past week or so of new developments.
Thank you for having me. Obviously, we're concerned about the starvation in Gaza at this moment. The Palestinians are being starved. This is not a natural disaster situation. This is a political calculation by the Israeli government to starve the Palestinians, and we are excited to hear about the news about aid being allowed into Gaza. But remember, the Palestinians cannot eat announcements. We need to go back to 500 to 600 trucks of aid. So far, this has not happened.
And yeah, that's what you're seeing in the news right now, all right? people are fighting over, the food that they're receiving is because, they're starving, all right? All those people over there in Gaza right now are starving, all right? And you gotta understand that, dying of starvation is very horrible. It's a real painful death. But it says, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And hey, you also look at on the news, or you hear about the recent earthquakes that now has caused a tsunami and will, hit the west coast. But it says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. So yeah, we're in the beginning of sorrows. All right. Damn. Lamentations 4:9. They that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger, for these pine away, stricken through for the want of the fruits of the field. And that's right. It's better to be slain with the sword than to be slain with hunger. All right, because those people, all right, who knows? Maybe they'll result into cannibalism. All right, because these people are starting to start eating. They're starting to eat the sand, as what I've seen so far. Um, the people are actually fighting over for the packages that they're receiving over there. All right, you got gangs over there that are shooting shooting up in the skies and stuff, trying to scare off the crowd from receiving those packages and reselling them for a higher price. Right, so things are escalating real quickly. But it says here in verse 10, "In the hands of the pitiful woman have slaughtered their own children; they were their meat, and the destruction of the daughter of my people." And yeah, cannibalism is coming back. All right, and what you're seeing over there happening in Gaza is nothing compared to what's about to happen here in America. All right, because this famine that's also going to hit America. All right, it's gonna look way horrible. All right, because we're coming into a time like no other. All right, a time of the time of Jacob's trouble. All right, and when people starve over here, you this is America. All right, we're talking about here in America. All right, the majority of these Americans, all right, they cannot go without food for no longer than 8 hours. All right, they're constantly putting something in their mouth. They're constantly consuming something. All right, these people, all right, they can't go a day without food. All right, because they're constantly consuming bullshit. They're consuming these processed foods. All right, which makes them even more hungry and shit. And it makes them even mad when they don't have it. Or you work at a fast food restaurant or whatever store you would work in, or let's say you're frying some chicken and whatnot, and you got a whole line, right? And these people, they just look real impatient as fuck. All right, they'll stay there until they receive the food. They won't just go fuck off to somewhere else to get some other food at some other place. They'll just stand in that line, give you a death stare, waiting on their chicken and whatever, their fried chicken, all that, nasty shit that you shouldn't even be eating. All right, they'll cause you health problems. All right, these people here, especially here in America, all right, they will even kill for this, kill for the food that they have here. You have in the news, all right, people killing each other over food, especially and about like Popeyes and stuff, so, shit like that, over the most simplest things, over some damn, over some food that isn't really even food at all right, junk food and shit. But yeah, when these people go hungry here in America, when they can't receive, the food that they need, all right, they will result into cannibalism, right? And that is coming back in a larger scale, especially here in America. Verse 11. Well, that's pretty much it to that point right there. But yeah, now let's just go back to what Esau is doing, right? Because now everybody's seeing that, the man of sin is being revealed. It says 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's speaking about Esau, all right, which, he will soon be destroyed, all right. Majority of them are, well, basically all of them are going to go into captivity, all right, after when their kingdom is over. But yeah, all right, then the man of sin is being revealed, all right. Everybody's looking at the so-called white man, and everybody's seeing how cruel of a devil that he is, all right. And this is what he's causing. He's causing a famine. All right, he's starving the people out, especially over there in Gaza. All right, but this won't even be the only place that he's going to be doing it. All right, you also have Esau's Agenda 2030. All right, where he wants to offer the microchip the entire Earth. All right, and by doing so, all right, he has to cause a lot of mass destruction. And one of the ways is that, he will starve these people out, all right, whether they'll comply to taking the offer the microchip or not. All right, Esau, he just don't give a damn. He will starve these people out. Revelations 6 and I'll start at 3. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And yeah, that's Esau right there. All right, the red horse is speaking about Esau. All right, he's the one who is in power today. He is the one that's causing all this division. He's the one that's causing all this, this chaos all across the globe. All right, and he's the one that's taking peace from the earth right now. All right, in the scriptures it tells you that Esau is blessed with the sword. All right, that's Esau's blessing, the sword, which is basically any weapon. And then Esau is actually using it to his advantage. But yeah, that's what's going on in the news right now, right? It's on the mainstream media. Everybody's, speaking about it. Everybody's eyes is on it, and here you got Trump, trying to say that, it's becoming a major problem, and supposedly he wants, Netanyahu to stop, but really, Trump, he just don't give a damn either. All right, Esau, Edomites, they just don't give a damn. All right, he is the devil. He is the wicked. All right, he can't do any good. And even if Biden was in office too, all right, he'll very much do the same. All right. And either way, these presidents, these governments that are selected, all right, they're puppets at the end of the day. All right, the elites use them to, basically execute their agenda, all right, for them, all right, behind closed doors. But nonetheless, that was just it to that lesson. All right. But yeah, you know, prophecy is really unfolding before our eyes. All right, you're seeing, you know, famines and all these major warnings that we're hearing, and you even have here too, not too long ago, but you got food banks here in America too. All right, you know, the major nation of people that are in poverty right now is Jake. Right, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right, a lot of you, well, yeah, basically all of you. All right, you know, or most of you basically. Most of you can't even make ends meet. All right, you know, we're basically, you know, cursed. All right, we're living in poverty, and Esau is, you know, is in rulership. But here, you know, in America, you got food banks, and a lot of Jake can't really afford groceries like that. All right, a lot of Jake can't really afford their utility bills like that. So what Esau is gonna do is that, you know, he's, you know, probably going to shorten them food banks to where, you know, Jake may not be able to get the food that they need. All right. On top of that, you also got the upcoming tariffs that are about to take place. All right, these nations, they're also about to retaliate tariffs on America too. And once that happens, all right, hyperinflation is gonna go up the roof, right? And people are gonna start, you know, losing it, all right, because they can't afford the food, they can't afford the groceries, they can't afford the utility bills, they can't afford to live, all right. So this is going to cause a major division here in America. Well, you know, I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua, and Shalom.